you, so you don't need to.
Sorry, I forgot to hit record.
Perfect. I was going to say that's right where I wanted to do it. I will share a link to this Prezi that you can click through yourself after, so you don't need to worry about taking notes if you don't want to. I'm going to go shallow and fast first. So, hashtag sorry, not sorry. If I'm overwhelming you, again, sorry, not sorry. I want to touch on a lot of different things, but before we go, I wanted you to think about what are some pain points in your studio. And for those of you that answered, I love it all, I do all the things. Okay, well, think about what your family's pain point is then, or someone else in your life that could be like, oh, that's just really hard. That takes a lot of time from our this or whatever. So if you would just take, 10 seconds to maybe jot down something that you're like, oh, if I could just adjust one thing in my studio, I'd get a little piece of my life back, right? A little boundary. So I'm gonna try. Do we get to go 50 minutes, an hour? How long do you want me? 50. Okay. I'm gonna go really fast, and I'm gonna try and save some time at the end to work on your specific problem if I didn't already answer it, so that we can have a little round table and talk about it. So my goal today is to give you back those 50 minutes that you're going to sit here and listen to me. And if I don't do that, like, call me. Let's set up a consult and I want to fix it. So these were some of your loves in your studio. I love doing recitals, picking music. Actually love all of it. Okay, I don't know who that person is. Go you. Making semester plans, bigger picture, goals, challenges, creating teaching activities, recitals, special events, and challenges. Good for you for loving those things. Some of those I'm like, oh, I'm not. Stresses me out a little. So, some things that you're like, ooh, maybe I should be doing a few of these. Ear training and sight reading, more in your lessons. Having a website, charging more, online billing. I wonder who this could be. Oh, yeah, I don't have a current Facebook page or blog. Did about 5 years ago, right? The upkeep. I know I should do group lessons, but I don't know how to start. So, some things that we can chat about. And then these were a couple of things you were like, ooh, if I could give away one task without, I didn't mean actually hire someone. If you want to hire someone to do this, there are people. But these were the things that were some pain points: billing, scheduling, website, and social media. So I'm going to go through a bunch of these things from the moment you attract someone's attention to them staying in your studio. And we're going to go through a beginning, an intermediate, and advanced level in how to systemize some of these things. So, first, this is our first impressions with people. So, I think the beginner level is just referrals. People that are already in your studio, how do you make them bring more people, right? Any of you do like bring a buddy day? Any of you have business cards? You're like, hey, hand this to a friend. Flyers, your personal social media, word of mouth. Does anyone do something fun with people that are already in their studios to try and get
Free.
them? No? Are we all full? You guys don't need to grow your studios. Should I just skip this whole thing?
I don't know. All the rest of you that don't have your video on, you
That's
might want to
okay.
put your video on so we can at least see you nodding your head or shaking your head.
That's good. I'm trying to scroll through you. Um, anyway, that bring a buddy day and to do like they're just funny duets out there that musical duets for my not so musical mate, and where they play ding dong at the end of the song. So, but also fun to just get people into your studio. Let's see, that's not letting me click that way. Okay, for those of you that this is my intermediate level, that if you can be found on Google, that's fantastic, right? Because then you're a real place that's searchable. So these are the couple of sites have free Wix, Weebly, Squarespace, WordPress, Google Sites. If you have a Gmail, you already have access to a Google site. That's what I run our Salt Lake chapter website on. It's just a little Google site. Doesn't, it just links from the state website. It's super easy. And all you need there is a landing page. Who you are, what you do, and what you want the person looking at that page to do. Right? That's simple. If you want to go a little bit more in depth on a website, Marketing Made Simple by Don Miller. It's a book and he has a whole workflow. He talks about wireframing your website. He finds that these, I think seven things are what should be on a website, and it's absolutely not what we think it is. Right? So your header, again, if you just had this on a website, you could never maintain it and it would be fine. The who you serve, what you do, right? How you're going to serve them, and how they sign up with you. What you want them to do. Join a waiting list, email me, set up a consult, whatever. Those 3 things, if you have that header, that needs to be above the fold, right? That should just be landing page. And if you want to chat about any more of these at the end, we can. But I would highly recommend, if you don't have a website, to just go stick a header on a Google site, and it will make you be found on website searches. Oh, I have to go manually click. Okay, and here's my advanced. Does your studio have a Facebook and an Instagram? If you have one, you kind of now automatically have the other because they are both owned by Facebook. Next door is a big thing up here in Salt Lake. I don't know if you down in St. George, if that's a thing. Store. Google Maps, Apple Maps. Yeah, those are things just to check out if you're looking to attract some more hellos. If you want some more people to know you exist. These are things I would try. I'm going to level up Facebook and Instagram. Who has a pretty solid Facebook, Instagram presence? Anyone? Caroline? Yeah, maybe a little. All right. I mean, it's just a different world out there. And now that we've all been exposed to the world of online teaching, right, that those boundaries don't exist anymore if you're willing to teach online. So having a social media presence is kind of a big deal. So do you know you can schedule posts? Do you schedule posts on Facebook and Instagram over there, Caroline? Change your life, right? Because here's the deal. I go like this with social media, and either I'm like super motivated or I'm like, no, never, delete all the apps. So when I'm in one of my motivated, I go through and schedule a whole month at a time, right? That I copy and paste like the same post, right? On all the Tuesdays, all the Thursdays, we have Thoughtful Thursdays, and all the, Motivation Mondays, and all the things you can do. So you can schedule here in the back end of Facebook. And then down here, this is for me. I have no boundaries with social media, so I have a plugin on my laptop. It's called Undistracted, and it will block all the social media for me so I can manage my time better. Because, again, either I'm like, spend hours on social media, or I have to delete it all. And so Undistracted helps me manage that. Okay, so we've said hello to people. They know you exist. Now we're going to see, I think statistically, people have to see something for 7 imprints, right? So 7 being told about you. They see you on social media. They've Googled you. They need to see something from you 7 times. So I think nurturing those relationships, I'm letting this person in. Hopefully they're in your chapter. I think my beginning level would just be like newsletters, right? Blog posts, a newsletter that you just stick on a website or your Facebook. Intermediate would be those posts on social media, and advanced is what community are you building within your studio and the world. So this is the class that I met Patrice in. Taught a whole class on Canva. But if you need to make a beautiful newsletter and you were in love with Microsoft Publisher back in like 2003, Canva is the new that. And yeah, Caroline knows what I'm talking about. It was good stuff, right? I love Publisher. You didn't have to like think in word organizing. You could put things wherever you wanted. So Canva is like that. So again, if you're communicating within the people that you want to attract, show off your students, right? Let them know like this is what your child could be doing. Make them feel something, right? So show off that accomplishment and always include a call to action. Whatever's on your website, stick it at the bottom of your newsletters, right? You want to join our studio? Set up a consult. Join here. Call me. Whatever. So yes, canva.com is one of my favorite websites ever. I put a bunch of random stuff on here. Also swag, stickers, buttons, packing tape, stickermule.com. Super cheap. Join their email list because they do like deals every Friday. And don't buy anything else unless it's from one of their deals because you can probably wait. And they're fantastic. So, and you all know that our MTNA comes with a print discount, right? Do you have, you used that down in St. George, right? You have like Office Max? Oh no!
We don't have Office Max down here.
What do you have? How are we going to fix this?
Staples. That's all we have. So we can't use our MTNA discounts because of that.
Unless we drive to Salt Lake to use it, and then we really save a lot of money.
Or Vegas. Vegas is closer. And I know we all go down there every so often. But I will also say, if you do $50 worth of copying online from Office Max, they will deliver for free. So that's how I do all of the AIM paperwork and stuff for us and get that discount. So depends on kind of what you're doing, but.
So you're saying we have to have a little big picture, plan ahead, because the discount's so good that getting to $50, that's a lot of stuff.
Well, and just so you guys know, anybody down in St. George, the St. George ink and toner by Neaters is cheap printing. I found that out when I printed my composition book. Unbelievable, big difference. So to be aware of.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, we need to know these things. I feel like we print so much stuff. I'm like, I love MTNA, but I will never leave because of this print discount. So yeah, okay. My advanced, trying to get your nurture that relationship and have them see you 7 times. Social media, again, Facebook, Instagram are the biggest ones. If you're doing TikTok, Snapchat, all of those, I personally think that Facebook is like the most like professional and grounded place that if you were going to pick one, pick that one because it's become just kind of its own search engine. So between like Google My Business and Facebook, those would be where I would want to be seen the most. And then mailing lists, right? Do you do a newsletter every month? Do you send it to people who are interested in joining your studio? So when they join, they're like, oh, I still read the newsletter. Okay, so I'm going to come back to that. I was going to say just building a community within your studio because then they go spread the word for you, right? So people are about to sign up and they're going to join your studio. Anyone have really cool things that they do with new students that I need to know about? That's like life-changing and I want to copy?
Well, the one thing that I wish I would have done all the time, but I've done for probably the last 4 or 5 years is first lesson, I take their picture, And by the next lesson, they are always looking to see if it's up on the board. So I have a picture of every one of my students, and I keep all my former students on the closet, the inside of the closet door. Once in a while, they like to look at who all has been there. So it's kind of fun.
Okay, so talk about building that community, right? Within your studio. That's cool. So I'm going to talk about 3 different levels of bringing people in to your studio. I would hope all of us are open to the idea of standardizing our onboarding, right? That Patrice, do you have that written down? That at the first lesson, I take a picture, I create them a practice book, and and send the picture to the printers, right? So that's just standardizing it, that every time that you have a checklist of what you're doing. My intermediate level is systemizing that, seeing if, there are some shortcuts, and advanced is outsourcing it. So here we go. Beginning level, standardizing. So again, there's a bunch of places that you can do this, and I love just writing this down. Do you have a handbook for you, right? Standardizing what questions you need to ask, right? What school do you go to? Do you take band with so-and-so? If so, I can skip teaching you theory for 6 months because your band teacher's really good at it, right? Or do you have auditions or a talent show that I need to know about? Just standardizing those questions before you let people into your studio. Are you on the swim team? Do you play football in high school? We don't have time for each other, right? So just kind of those screening questions in an introduction. Again, like Patrice just talked about in her first lesson, she does certain things that just gets things going on the right foot. The flow and just kind of setting expectations of your lessons, right? Should that happen in the first lesson? Is that an email follow-up? I was reading a book. Oh no, I read too many books and I can't remember. But you have 90 days pretty much to lock in your client. If you can keep someone for 90 days, you can pretty much keep them for as long as you want them. So what is that follow-up looking like from you in 90 days, right? And usually we know within 90 days if we want them forever, right? So what are we doing in those 90 days to set up a really successful relationship in our studio so that we are getting practice time and respect and all the things we want, and your clients are like, oh, we love this here, and there's a flow, there's, levels or systems set up so they feel like they're progressing. 90 days. Woo. Okay, so my intermediate is systemizing. This may be my favorite slide of the whole thing because this is where I save the most time ever. I use Gmail a lot. I'm totally fine if they go read my email and sell my data. Because of the time they save me, I will be their product. In Gmail, do you know that you can have templates saved? Yeah. So I write the same email multiple times a month when I get new people. So now I just save them as a template. Trello and Doodle.com is a super fun thing to be like, I have a couple of different times available, right? And if you're not going for scarcity and you're flexible and want to teach them, you could send them 3 options and they can click all the ones that they're available. It's also really good for scheduling back-to-back 10-minute interviews if you do dress rehearsals or stuff like that I book. They can have a 10-minute speed coaching session with me, and so having them fill out a little doodle for me so then I can play scheduling Tetris, that's really fun. So first lesson, are you training your students and your parents on your policies? Right? So that's what, again, I'm adding that to your system. Okay, and you're going to go home and watch this video. I love Trello and Slack to kind of keep the flow going in my studio. So I've seen people have every student up here has their picture, what books they're in, their practice for the week. You could do all of this through here. You can link it to a Google Sheet if that's how you want to upkeep stuff. So yes, Gmail though, templates and scheduling emails. So if you want me to show you those at the end, I would love to. They are fantastic. And then outsourcing. So again, this doesn't necessarily have to be a human. This can be you, but we're just outsourcing it to the system that you're using, right? So emails, confirmation emails. Like if people register and you're using a cool studio platform, like make sure your confirmation email just includes some parent training, right? And a lot of things like a Calendly, they can schedule like 5 confirmation emails and they can all be different things. So here are my policies. Great. Then 5 days later, they get, before your second lesson, here's what we expect, you know, and then a couple days later, they get, oh, here's how you mark your practice minutes, stuff like that. So you can outsource it to the system. So assignment texts, information, like I collect a really ridiculous amount of information upon registration, like including allergies, stuff like that. So just, you can do that in Google Forms. That is free, again, if you have a Gmail. And then let's say the flow, just you can create pathways within your studio for them to level up and through. And then follow up, cough, cough, when they registered back in the nurture part, they're already on your mailing list for newsletters and special events and all of that, right? Maybe, maybe not. I'm going to go play around with Gmail for a minute. Because if you're using Apple Mail, I love you, but will you please consider you just sync them, but then it will sort everything for you. It's great. Okay, I just wanted to next go once they're in your studio. We have 90 days, right? To set those expectations, to get them to fall in love with you, to get them to fall in love with making music with you, for you. So this is where I would love to hear if you do fun things in your studio to communicate with your parents. These are not my ideas. I do not do these. These are from ladies in my Salt Lake chapter. They do quarterly report cards. So I was like, oh, okay, that's fun. They have one lady like has parent required days in her studio. So she'll do it like when they start a new piece for a festival or something, that the parent has to be there on those certain days, which are just on her calendar, which I was like, okay, that's brilliant, right? Starting new projects or starting stuff like that. And parent training videos. Like a woman has filmed herself going through like presentation of her policies and stuff. And I was like, oh, well then you don't have to waste lesson time saying the same thing that you say to every parent ever. They just recorded a YouTube video that's like, okay, while you're sitting out in the car for their first lesson, you're going to watch this and sign my policies. And I'm going to be in here training your student. Which I was like, okay, save me 10 minutes. And wasting their first lesson. And it's the same thing every time. And then you always manage to forget something. You're like, oh crap, did I say that? Right? Oh, okay. Yeah, record a video. It's fantastic. Billing. I know a couple of you said that you would love to make this better. Venmo has an asterisk by it because there is a Venmo business account now. So you probably should not be using your personal Venmo. But you can transfer your personal Venmo to a business one, unless you like getting audited, and then you can just do whatever you want to do, and then you can sort it out later with the IRS. Or not, I don't know. It has to, hit a threshold of money transferred through there, but it's just like doing things right the first time. So get a Venmo business if you're gonna do that. But bill pay from the bank, that's simple, that's free, right? Or post-dated checks. Like, hey, when you sign up with me, you're committing for a year of lessons. So now you're going to write me 12 checks for the same amount and just post-date them. And now I'm putting them in my safe. And every month I go grab all of the checks for that month and I take them to my bank. Like, there are simple, free ways to systemize this to save you time. And I'm all for getting just a few minutes back. And then can you imagine never being paid late again? Like, because you just like grab it out of your filing cabinet. Or, right, if you do a bill pay, like I think I have a thing in my intermediate one of this. Oh, this is the other thing. I want some input. How are you communicating with your students? So again, women in my chapter, these are some of their ideas. So for their practice assignments, some of them, like with iPhones, you can sync notes. So I don't know if you're using, and now there are widgets, people. So up here, if you can see my screen, no you can't because my computer, there's a notes widget. So I have my list, me and Patrice's list, and a church list that I just have shortcutted up here. And so you can share people on your notes and both of you can update. And so then you can add a checklist that says Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and they can go in and check on those and it can send you an update or not on whether they've hit their check mark. So if that's a simple way, you can do the same thing in Google Keep. That is for Apples and Androids and your computer. So that might be an even better option if all of your kids don't have iPhones. Or even a Google Doc, right? Just keep a Google Doc together and you can both type on it and you can just add to it every week and the link never changes. So are any of you doing I think with COVID, I think this was a really fun time to kind of, standardize and update how we're communicating our expectations to students. Is anyone doing anything fun I need to hear about? There's apps. I just came from my chapter meeting and I wrote it down. She uses Better Practice. Hold on, I really did have to write it down. Betterpractice.com. That's what she uses. It's like keeps track of all their theory and technique and she can like tag things. Tanara is a big one that people use and love. Cadenza. Anyway, so anyone do anything fun that's going to change my life?
We don't do anything fun, but I have my students send me, especially the ones that are having a difficult time, send me videos. And it's so great because I had one mother send a request, said, is she playing this right? And I was able to send it right back. Nope, she's got to hold for 3 counts, then play, and then I could play it. And she didn't practice it wrong for the whole week. It's great.
Yeah. And if you're willing to be that available, that is fantastic. Right? Like,
Well, there have been times I have replied with, obviously I'm driving right now. I'll send it when I get home.
Yeah. I love that. Videos. I have a few of my teenagers that we have a Marco Polo channel because it's just video back and forth, right? And they can video them practicing and I can be like, yo, try that part again. Or, that was a horrible vowel. Please modify, and so back and forth video like that. But you can do that in text messages.
Holly, have you heard of Voxer?
No.
It's something where the teacher and students can communicate in between sessions.
See?
How do you spell that?
Voxer, Voxer.
Voxer.
Cool. Yeah, so there are things out there, which I think on the advanced it has, I won't skip all of that, promise. Yeah, sorry, I thought I had them in there. I was going to go add it. Okay, so our advanced. Here are my templates, right? So if you don't just want to keep a bunch of Google templates, which you can now put them straight into Gmail. So again, if you're not using Gmail and you want to use Apple Mail forever, please make templates though and go stick them somewhere, whether that's on your desktop as a Word document that you can pull every time and copy and paste, or on, a Google Doc or something. Please save time writing emails. But in Gmail now, there's 3 dots over here. You can't see them on this video, but templates. And then look at all of those that I have an assistant right now who's going in and numbering them. So I can be like, oh, they need email number 1. And it will go through and just send them that. And then I'm having her schedule, once someone registers and we get that email, she goes through and is scheduling email 1 through 9 to the same person, right? So it'll be like, hey, thanks for registering. Here's what you need to do for first lesson. And then it's like, hey, you just had your first lesson. Are you like relieved? And then it will tell them what they need to do throughout the week. And then like 2 weeks later, it checks in like, hey, you know, so I have those first 90 days scheduled when they register with me. Scheduled, done, checked in, open communication. It's so beautiful. And then scheduling. This is an old screenshot because now that little arrow next to the blue send, if you click that, it will say schedule. Google's a monster, right? And they go let people try out things on their platforms as plugins, and then they're like, oh, you're doing well, we're gonna buy you. And so then the send later at the bottom was it was called Boomerang, but then Google bought them. So, and then anyone using like a Remind app or something to text your whole studio at once? Yeah, Caroline, you're over there. I see you. Isn't it so nice? You don't have to copy and paste the same thing 100 times. Or do a group text that someone's going to awkwardly send something back and you're like, please no. Right? Just don't reply to this.
What's the Remind app?
Oh, well, you need it. So you just go in and you can have different like mailing lists. Caroline, do you want to explain it?
I can if you want to. You can do it from your computer or your phone. You just put in everybody's phone numbers and stuff, and then you make your own group, and then you can send texts, and you can schedule those texts. You don't have to just do them like right then. So if it's like midnight, you can send it the next morning and not be annoying. Which is very lovely. And I will say this though, a lot of parents are somewhat starting to opt out of Remind, which is somewhat of a problem. So you might want to like talk to your parents about that, because a lot of schools have used it. My church group is actually using Remind because we're crazy and have like activities every day. So they send reminders through Remind to us about everything that's going on. So it's really useful.
Yeah, isn't it funny? I felt like it was send emails. And then people started to not read their emails. So now we're like, send texts. And now people are not reading their texts. So now, like, personally, I think it's like the studio platforms that hopefully people like see it coming from my, music teacher helper or stuff like that, and be like, oh, that's specifically for piano lessons. Because I swear if we have to make our own apps, like I'm out. I'm not doing that. So billing, other ways that are probably, you're going to have to pay a credit card fee on these, which personally, I just think you should raise your rates $5 and it'll cover it. It's just I personally think it's way worth it. Square, Stripe, PayPal, QuickBooks, they will all do a recurring payment, right? So if you're using one of those platforms and you're not having it set up as a subscription, look into it. And again, I would love to help you. Also, you could make it scheduling dependent. So Square, Stripe, PayPal, QuickBooks, those are just independent money takers, right? Whereas like Acuity or Fonz or Calendly would be like they schedule something and then they pay, right? So they can schedule, semester classes or every week classes, and it will pay depending on how you want to set it up, every 4 lessons or monthly. People have gotten on board with us kind of choosing, because we have different ways to bill, and I love the flexibility of packages, right? Of every 4 lessons. I teach a lot of adults, and a lot of adults know their schedule ahead of time, and I also like taking days off, so I do packages. And so you can bill different ways that way, or just monthly tuition. So those would be the ones I would look into. Yeah, and again, students, if you're like, do you have a practice assignment template that you fill out every lesson? It's super cool, makes them know what to expect from you. and then a studio platform, right? I do all of my things in one place. I assign practice. It sends them text reminders. It sends them practice text, like reminders. If they haven't logged in a couple of days, it will be like, yo, where are you? Like, it has practice timer. I can do points. I can gamify whatever I want. I don't. Again, I teach a lot of adults. They don't need that. Just seeing the money leave their bank account seems to be enough motivation. So that's good. But yeah, I love studio, like a full studio platform. And the one specifically made for music teachers, if you're ready, my music staff, music teacher helper, teacher zone, and even Fawns, they're in a bunch of our like Facebook teacher groups. They are like super responsive. So if you're like kind of want to jump in at ground level and like grow, like I would check out Fawns. I don't know a ton about it, but just seeing them reply and the like attitude, the vibe that they give off, I really like them. So, right, and that can collect billing, assignments, allergies, due dates, text reminders, communication, and build a community, usually all in one place. Some of them even have lending libraries and video chat and chat, like texting with your teacher. So all of that can be built in one place. And I personally, I have other teachers under me that work at my studio. So I felt for safety reasons, I needed a studio platform just because the world is kind of gross, and I employ like 4 male teachers, and not that it should be gender specific, but it always seems to be. So I just felt like all communications within my studio happen within my studio platform. So I can go read every text, watch every video that's sent back and forth. So if you are thinking about growing that way or just want a little more control, I'm a control freak, check out a studio platform. Okay, I think one last thing. So music teachers, I feel like we don't maybe give ourselves enough credit for the influence we have on the world, because we see a lot of children in vulnerable times. I think just music does that to you because you can communicate more and better through expressing yourself in music. So when you want people to come to your studio, I feel like we need to give ourselves more credit and then share that message with the world. So what, you may be sitting through this presentation like, that's not for me, I'm full, I'm done. Well, oh, are you done? We have world peace? Like, we can do this as music teachers, right? So even if you're not in it to grow, like, I really think that our message of creativity and respecting the arts can go have a positive influence on the world. So your name and your logo, if you don't have one, like, let me help you today, right? That's just visibility and that little badge of honor for your students that I take at this place, Patrice Hunt's piano studio, right? It gives them that sense of community, even if there's nothing else, right? Then they open that closet door, they see everyone else that they are now affiliated with. And that's super cool. Fiverr, someone will make you a logo for $5. I'm not kidding. And Canva, if you want to make your own. Pick a name, pick a logo. Once you have a name and a logo, now you have perceived value, right? Sadly, that's kind of how our world works, but you're now searchable, right? But now you can share information. You can open your events to the public. You can start doing charitable work, service, fundraising with that name and that logo. And then name, logo, and value equals FOMO, fear of missing out, right? Because now you have people that recognize your name, they see the good things you're doing in the world, and now they want to come, they want to join, right? How do we get lessons there? I want a sticker. Why are stickers so motivating right now? Is it the water bottles? I'm not sure, but again, stickermule.com and get yourself some stickers. Here are other things that I loved in this presentation, was mostly based off my knowledge from these places. Podcasts that I love, Facebook, just our Utah Facebook group. I've loved that that's starting to, get a little more active. The studio challenge, he's my business coach. I absolutely adore Shane and Shauna. They've helped me grow a lot. So if you're like, wow, I really don't like Holly, but she's smart and I want to be, do some things, well, it's from them. And books that I love: E-Myth, Atomic Habits, Story Brand, and The Pumpkin Plan. If you haven't read the E-Myth, I highly recommend it. And yeah, that is my contact information on that QR code. So if you scan that right now, it will add my phone number, this Prezi presentation, and my email address to your phone. So you can go watch the Prezi or go click through and be like, what the heck was she talking about? And then if you're like, what the heck was she talking about? You send me an email and it will all be there. So
How do I scan it on my phone?
you should just be able to open your camera. Yeah, and hold it up. And then it should pop up. Add Holly Archer to your contacts.
That's what it said on mine.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. And your homepage is prezi.com?
Well, that's just this presentation.
Okay, but that's what it pulled up on my phone.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's not great because I shared that link. I'll make sure. And we'll have someone email it to you. Oh dear, I just put my computer to sleep.
Oh no.
Don't do that in the middle of a presentation. Not good. Anyway, okay, we should have just a couple of minutes. Does anyone have something that you're like, oh, that I want? Yeah, okay, Caroline.
So I have to say this, last year, I have automated my interview process through Airtable. And Airtable is like really awesome. And I have been in love with Excel for years, even though I'm not like super great at it. But Airtable takes it to a whole new level. And a couple of years ago, I actually put my whole catalog that's sitting in those bookshelves in a spreadsheet. And with Airtable, so I'm now keeping control of like how much I'm spending on music, how many copies I have of everything. And the thing that I love about Airtable that Excel doesn't do is it also, I can take a picture of the front cover, because I don't know about you, but it's like, it's the blue one, right? Or whatever. And so then I can just scroll through and find the blue one or whatever. It does barcode scanning, all kinds of stuff. And so my my library catalog is awesome. But then I also have a database that's keeping track of how many interviews I do, and all those informational questions like what sports, what allergies, what all of that stuff all gets put in the same database. But then I can make different views, and so I can just see like one student at a time, or just the parents' information, or you can really leverage Airtable a lot and get a lot out of it. It is a paid subscription, but for me, it's been worth it. It's been a pretty amazing resource.
Oh, what's the cost been roughly?
Oh, I want to say $100 a year or something like that.
It's not bad.
No, and like I can also say this is a resource and a part of things that I have in my home for my insurance coverage that I would like to be covered.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of money sitting in that bookshelf. And so I actually just went and changed all my insurance this summer. And I actually did have them put a line in that about my music library. But because I have like this database showing like what I own and what's actually in my house, like I think that's a little bit more like provable, right?
Did that take forever? Did you have to hand upload all of that?
Yes, and I'm not finished. I may hire a teenager or something to help me finish it. But I have like over 1,000 entries at this point.
Yeah. I've just started to upload music to my iPad Pro with the 4-score, which I love. But 10 pieces of music and I'm done for this morning.
Oh yeah, that takes forever.
Yeah.
And that takes a long time to create your library there too. Yeah, I haven't even entered all the digital stuff I've got like on the Airtable.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay.
Holly, I saw a thing. What is a drip? It was with this.
A drip campaign. So that just means that it drips content to them on a schedule that you set. So, like on things like MailChimp or Constant Contact, they can do that. So if they like join your newsletter, it will give them like very specific newsletters that you've already made, like on day 10 and day 30 and day 60, and right, and it will send a very specific set of things. So like I was saying, I'm too cheap to pay for MailChimp, but I have an assistant. So when someone registers and I get a registration email, they go in and manually schedule my emails to drip to them for the first 90 days that they're in my studio.
I'll feel good if I get my Facebook back up and going before I do newsletters. But
And
that would be on the back.
I love that. So again, Shane in my Studio Challenge group, he talked about that Facebook banner. One, go to Canva, make them. They have a ton of templates. But that's the new billboard, right? So if that should be like the top of your website or whatever billboard like that you're trying to fill right now. So mine says fall, like now accepting fall registration. And then my call to action. And if they click on the picture, it actually just takes them to the picture. But in the comments, I will have a link to my website, a link to my call to action. So that's the new billboard. So go put up a new billboard.
Yeah.
It's free.
And what was the site you mentioned about buying product? They have sales on Friday.
Sticker Mule.
Sticker Mule. Okay.
Yeah.
Sticker Mule or Sticker Fuel?
Mule.
M-U-L-E.
Sticker Mule.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think if I can do this without being shady, I think there's like a code that I can give you $10 off, I think. It also gives me $10 and I don't need any more stickers. But let me see if I can get it. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, anything else any other pain points that you're like, you gave me no resource to look into? You gave me nothing.
No, but this has been great. Really a lot of information. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, I feel like I need to get to work. I've been a slug.
Well, and just answer your one thing that you wrote down, right? Don't be overwhelmed. That's why we went fast and through a lot, because we're all at different places. And I would just, if I could give you back 50 minutes in the next month, it'd be super awesome. Or this year. I don't know.
Great.
Okay. Thanks for letting me torment you.
Hey,
That
anybody
was
else have
wonderful.
other questions? Yep. Thank you, Holly.
Thank you, Holly.
Okay, we will see everybody next month. Christopher Oil is doing a great presentation. We don't want to miss it. And you want to bet? I'm going to get a email set up, a scheduled email to go out as a reminder because of today's meeting. I'm going to start scheduling those emails. So thank you, Holly. Okay, I think we're good for today. See everybody next month, hopefully.
Thanks. Bye.
So much, Patrice. Thank you, Karen.